Your past may shape you, but it doesn't own you. Every new choice is a chance to rewrite your story. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Leaders Realm podcast. I'm your host, Tony Cammarata. And today, we're going to take a deep dive, guys, into one of the most powerful transformations anyone can make. That's shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, from a victim mentality to an empowered mindset. Just take a minute with me, guys. Just take a minute to think about your current challenges, your struggles, your frustrations. I don't know, maybe you feel stuck in your career, relationships, or even your health. Maybe you've even been telling yourself a story, one that's keeping you just small enough to not get forward. I get it. I've been there, guys. But I also know this. I know that you have the power to break free from these limitations and step into a completely new reality where you're in control, where you're capable, where you become unstoppable. This isn't just about positive thinking, guys. This is about real, tangible shifts, ones that lead to results. It's about rewiring your brain, changing your beliefs, reframing your way of thinking, and taking intentional action towards the life that you truly want. So let's break it all down. What's a fixed mindset? What's a victim mentality? How do we break free? How do we step into a life of growth, resilience, and empowerment? And most importantly, how can you start this shift today? Well, grab that coffee, guys. Sit back and let's get into it. So a fixed mindset, guys, it's a belief that limits our growth. It's the belief that your abilities, intelligence, your circumstances are all predetermined. And because of that, we think they're unchangeable. This kind of mindset, guys, it leads us to assume that our skills and our talents are static. So either you have them or you don't. If you struggle with something, the assumption is that, man, I'm always going to struggle with this. The perspective, man, it can be so incredibly limiting. It holds us back from reaching our true potential. A fixed mindset, it manifests in so many different ways, guys. It shapes how we perceive challenges, setbacks, and even successes. So here's some common characteristics that in my research I found that are really, really, really intensely tied to a fixed mindset. Someone with a fixed mindset avoids challenges. So when someone has a fixed mindset and they encounter a difficult task, so many times they just back away. They assume that there's no way in the world that they're capable of succeeding. Instead of seeing the challenges as opportunities for learning and growth, they view them as threats. And these threats might expose their weaknesses. The next one is fear of failure, guys. We talk about this so many times, so many episodes. Failure is seen as a reflection of one's abilities rather than a stepping stone to success. Individuals with a fixed mindset often avoid taking risks because they feel failure will define them. Resistance to feedback. Constructive criticism is often taken personally rather than an opportunity for improvement. People with a fixed mindset may ignore or dismiss feedback because they believe their abilities are not changeable. Here's another one. Comparison to others. So many times we fall into this trap, especially if we're spending time on social media. Just, oh boy, let me look at all the lies they're feeding me today. Man, I wish I could be just like them. See, these people frequently compare themselves to other people, believing that the talent and intelligence are fixed traits. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they spend their time feeling envious or defeated when they see others succeed. The fifth characteristic is effort is seen as completely pointless. If someone believes that their abilities are fixed, putting in extra effort feels like a complete waste of time. They might think, if I was just truly good at this, it would just come easy. Another is the desire for validation. Success is often pursued for external validation rather than personal growth. They only attempt things that they're naturally good at because they don't want to look inadequate. I get it. So how do we end up developing this fixed mindset? How does this happen to us? See, guys, it isn't something that we consciously choose. Rather, many times it's developed over time due to a whole bunch of different influences. One is early praise and labels. So if a child is constantly told, oh, you're so smart and you're so naturally gifted, that child might internalize that idea that intelligence is a fixed trait. Conversely, if they struggle with something and they hear statements like, well, maybe you're just not a math person, they might believe that they're not capable of this. They're not capable of improving. Another's negative past experiences. Failing at something once or being criticized harshly can reinforce the belief that ability is fixed. So you may just stop trying in areas where you previously struggled. Then you've got your cultural and societal influences. There's many cultures out there that emphasize natural talent over effort, making it seem as though success is only for the gifted. People often portray successful individuals as having been born with it, reinforcing the idea that hard work and growth don't play a big role. See, I don't subscribe to this. People tell me all the time that, oh, hey, you're just a natural born salesman, or you're a natural in the kitchen. Guys, this is so far from the truth. I have worked so hard throughout my career to become an expert in my field, studying, learning from my failures, seeking that feedback. Yet people look at, oh yeah, you're just such a natural at this. See, I don't buy it because I know the effort that went in. Another is fear of judgment. In environments where mistakes are punished rather than seen as learning opportunities, people may develop a fixed mindset as a defense mechanism. So what are some consequences, guys? Just so we're aware of what's happening around us. Living with a fixed mindset can have serious consequences in many, many areas of life. One is personal growth. Stagnation occurs because new experiences and challenges are avoided. We get stuck in our comfort zones, missing out on opportunities for self-improvement. Career successes. Fear of failure can prevent individuals from taking on new responsibility or pursuing your promotions. Resistance to feedback limits us professionally. Even in our relationships, a fixed mindset can lead to defensiveness. It can lead to struggles with conflict resolution. Why? Because we believe that the personalities and behaviors can't change. Another big one is mental health. Constantly avoiding failure and comparing yourself to others leads to anxiety, low self-esteem, and ultimately depression. Another is a belief that struggles are permanent. So how do we break free, guys? How do we break free from a fixed mindset? While this mindset can be so ingrained in us, it is possible, guys. It's possible to shift towards a growth mindset. The belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. So some might ask, well, what are some of these steps? Well, the first step is recognize what your fixed mindset thoughts are. Pay attention to self-limiting beliefs like, I can't do this, or I'll never be good at this. I know you've heard yourself say that. I have. I still do. Challenge these thoughts by reminding yourself growth is possible. Reframing your challenges, guys, reframing them as opportunities. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, try saying, I'm not good at this yet, but man, I'm going to get it. View setbacks as learning experiences. Embrace effort. Embrace persistence. Understand that struggle is part of the learning process. Constantly seek constructive criticism. Instead of avoiding it, use it as a tool. Learn from it, improve. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow. And guys, this is a big one here. Celebrate progress over perfection. So many of us get caught in this perfection gap. Everything has to be just right. Done is better than perfect, guys. Focus on the small victories. Focus on the small improvements instead of looking at the big final picture. Acknowledge that mastery takes time and practice. It's like in sports, or like myself in practicing martial arts. We do the same thing over and over and over and over until we perfect it. It takes time. It takes practice. A fixed mindset, it just puts us in a situation where it creates all of these self-imposed limits. It makes growth and success seem completely unattainable. But if we shift our perspectives and we embrace the idea that intelligence, talent, and skills can be developed, anyone can unlock their full potential. But the first step is recognizing when a fixed mindset is at play and replacing those limited beliefs with a mindset geared towards growth, resilience, and lifelong learning. A growth mindset, guys, it's a belief that fuels success. It's a belief that intelligence, skills, and abilities are not fixed traits, but they can develop over time through effort, learning, and perseverance. Unlike a fixed mindset, which sees talent and intelligence as an innate and unchangeable, a growth mindset embraces the challenges. It values the efforts. It views the setbacks as stepping stones for improvement. See, guys, this perspective, it isn't just a motivational concept. It's backed by science, neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and reform brand new neural connections and pathways. It proves that learning and growing are possible at any age. This means that if you're willing to dedicate yourself and utilize the right strategies, you can improve. You can improve your skills, your intelligence, and even your performance in every area of life. See, the power of a growth mindset, when it's in action, what you'll witness and experience is how shifting from a fixed to a growth mindset will transform your life. For myself, guys, I've worked with leaders who felt stuck in their careers, but managed to break through limitations once they embraced the continuous learning. Even individuals who thought they were, too old, not smart enough to make any changes, but yet they discovered that persistence led them to success. Entrepreneurs who faced repeated failures, but used each setback as a lesson. Ultimately, building a thriving business. What changed wasn't their natural ability, it was their mindset. They stopped seeing obstacles as roadblocks and started viewing them as opportunities to grow. You see, adopting a growth mindset, it requires intentional effort. It's not something you either have or you don't have. It's a perspective, one that can be developed and practiced. And here's how, guys. Reframe failure as learning. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process, guys. Most people see failure as a complete dead end, but in reality, it's one of the most valuable teachers. Every single setback provides insights and feedback that can help you improve. So instead of saying, I failed, try saying, what can I learn from this experience? I've shared this story before, and I'm sure you've heard it 100 times. Look at Thomas Edison. The guy failed over 1,000 times before he successfully invented the light bulb. Instead of viewing each attempt as a failure, he saw them as learning opportunities, steps leading him closer and closer to success. Just imagine if he had a fixed mindset. Things are pretty dark every day, huh? So embrace the challenges, guys. Embrace the challenges instead of avoiding them. And One of the things I've come to learn is that, comfort zones don't foster growth. Challenges do. In fact, I truly believe this. I heard it not too long ago, and I really believe this. Comfort zones are where dreams and goals go to die. Let me say that again. Comfort zones are where dreams and goals go to die. See, a growth mindset, guys, it thrives. It thrives on challenges. Whereas a fixed mindset completely avoids them. Why? Fear of failure. Whenever we encounter a difficult situation, we've got to shift our perspective. Instead of thinking this is too hard, reframe it. Wow, this is an opportunity to grow. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, try telling yourself, I'm not good at this yet. Develop persistence and resilience, guys. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is persistence. Growth-minded individuals don't quit when things get tough. They adapt, they adjust, and they push forward. When you see your setbacks as temporary and not permanent, and you adapt to change rather than resisting, then you're developing resilience. Surround yourself with growth-minded individuals. I can't stress this enough. I talk about it almost weekly. The people you spend time with shape your beliefs and your behaviors. If you're surrounded by negativity and fixed mindset people who say things like, oh, well, that's impossible. Man, you're wasting your time. It's harder to maintain a growth mindset. Instead, put the effort in, seek out those who will mentor you, who will challenge you, coaches who will push you to grow, and communities that encourage learning and progress. Entrepreneurs who join mastermind groups, they often experience exponential growth. Why? Because they're surrounded by like-minded people who challenge them to think bigger. Stop thinking so small. Constantly practice continuous learning. Your mind is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And a growth mindset, guys, it thrives on lifelong learning. This means reading books, listening to podcasts, attending seminars, developing new skills that push you beyond your comfort zone, challenging yourself to keep improving, even in areas where you're already skilled. And pay attention, guys, to your self-talk. Your words shape your reality. The way we talk to ourselves determine our mindset. Negative self-talk reinforces a fixed mindset, while positive self-talk rewires our brain for growth. Set stretch goals. Success is a result of setting and pursuing ambitious goals. A stretch goal is a target that pushes our limits but remains achievable with effort, learning, and persistence. Instead of aiming for what's comfortable, challenge yourself, guys, with goals that force you to grow. A growth mindset is not just about positive thinking. It's about embracing discomfort, learning from failures, continuously challenging yourself, improve. Shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset opens the doors to unlimited potential, greater resilience, and long-term success. The question is, are you willing to embrace the mindset that's going to change your life? Now, guys, I want to spend just a few more minutes here today, and I want to talk about victim mentality. Victim mentality is one of the biggest obstacles to personal growth, the biggest obstacles to success, one of the biggest obstacles to fulfillment. It's a psychological state where individuals believe that you're powerless over the circumstances and you blame external factors for the struggles and the failures that you're going through. And you know what? I know life is filled with challenges. Life deals us crap every day. And some of the stuff that we get dealt, completely unfair and beyond our control. But remaining in a victim mindset, it prevents the progress, guys. and it prevents the personal empowerment. A victim mindset often manifests itself in self-defeating thoughts and terrible statements like, man, my life is so unfair. People like me never get ahead. And it really isn't my fault. It's the circumstances around me. I'll never succeed because of what happened to me. Or why does this always happen to me? Guys, these beliefs reinforce a cycle of helplessness, keeping us trapped in negative thought patterns. While acknowledging the hardships are important, allowing them to define you is a choice, one that can rob you of the ability to take control of your future. You see, victim mentality isn't about weakness. It's a mindset, and it's developed through experiences, conditioning, and sometimes even societal influences. There are a few key psychological and emotional reasons why people fall into this trap. Number one is the comfort of familiarity. Even though a victim mindset is disempowering, it offers a sense of predictability. If you've been conditioned to believe that life happens to you rather than because of you, stepping into responsibility can feel uncomfortable. And yes, sometimes even scary. When someone adopts a victim mentality, they often avoid taking responsibility for their own growth. Why? Because taking responsibility means facing the hard truth. You have control over your choices, your habits, your actions. It's so much easier in the short term anyway to blame circumstances rather than accept that change is within your power. A lot of times victim mentality is a coping mechanism for past pain. Many people who struggle with this mindset have legitimate past traumas, injustices, hardships. However, rather than processing these events and growing from them, they choose to stay stuck in the narrative of this happened to me, so I can't move forward. Guys, victim mentality is dangerous. Remaining in this mindset can have terrible long-term consequences on so many aspects of life. Stagnation in personal and professional growth. If you believe life is stacked against you, you'll never take proactive steps to change your situation. Increased anxiety and depression. Feeling powerless fuels hopelessness, which can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, and depression. A lack of resilience. When you believe life is always happening to you, you don't develop the grit needed to overcome the setbacks and bounce back stronger. And when you're living with this mindset, you attract more negativity. If you focus only on the problems, your energy, mindset, and actions will invite more challenges rather than opportunities into your life. Break free, guys. The good news is just as a victim mentality is learned, it can be unlearned. The key is to reclaim your power by shifting your focus from limitations to possibilities. Challenge your narrative. Every time you hear yourself saying, I can't because, stop and ask yourself, is this an absolute truth or is it just a belief that I'm carrying? What evidence do I have that this belief is false? If someone else overcame a similar challenge, what would they tell me to do? So instead of saying something like, I'm not successful because I didn't have the right connections, try, how can I start networking and creating opportunities for myself? See, we've got to learn to focus on the solutions and not the problems. People that are stuck in victim mentality focus on what's wrong rather than what they can do to change it. Empowered individuals shift their thinking from problem-focused to solution-oriented by asking this: what's one small action I can take today to improve my situation? Who can I learn from who's overcome something similar? What part of this situation is within my control? Instead of saying, I have no control over my financial situation, say, what steps can I take to start saving, investing, or earning more income? Own your story, guys, but don't let it define you. You see, your past explains you, but it doesn't have to define you. Your hardships are real, but they don't have to dictate your future. The moment you accept responsibility for your next steps, you begin to reclaim the power over your life. So instead of saying, I was dealt a bad hand, say, man, this is my starting point. I get to write the next chapter. And something I've got to work on daily is developing a habit of gratitude. As simple as it sounds, it gets so overwhelmingly hard sometimes. You know, gratitude shifts our focus from lack to abundance. There's studies that show that practicing gratitude actually starts to rewire our brain to a point where we begin to seek positivity. It makes it easier for us to escape the victim mindset. Start a journal. Keep a notepad nearby, or open up your phone, open up notes, and every morning just write down 3 things that you're grateful for, or every night. Hey, I'm grateful that this happened today, or this happened today. You know, start to shift from, I have nothing going for me, to, man, I am so grateful for the skills, the opportunities, and the support that I do have. Instead of saying, my job sucks, which I hear that all the time, reframe it. How about this? I'm grateful for the income, and I'm making steps to transition into something better. And this next one, guys, this is huge. Take responsibility for your actions. Own them. Even in unfair situations, there's always something you can control. Whether it's your reaction, your mindset, or next step, taking ownership of your choices is key to empowerment. Identify one area in your life where you've been blaming external factors and take one small step to improve it. And I guarantee you're going to be headed down a path that will change everything about your future. You know, instead of saying stuff like, oh, well, I'm out of shape because of my busy schedule, I don't have time. Shift to, I can carve out 15 minutes daily to exercise, no matter what, just 15 minutes. And I promise you, that 15 minutes will grow into an hour, will grow into an hour and a half, will grow into 2 hours, multiple times a week. How do I know this? It happened to me. Start to create a vision for your future. If you don't create a vision for your future, you'll always stay stuck in your past. I need to say that again. If you don't create a vision for your future, you'll always stay stuck in your past. And in the past, guys, is where the enemy wants to keep us. You know, ask yourself these questions, guys. What does my best life look like? What steps can I take today to move toward it? How will I begin to respond differently to challenges? You know, next step, guys, become relentless in your pursuits. Become relentless in your actions. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Once you've adopted an empowered mindset, the final step is action. Start small, build momentum, keep going, keep pushing. Want to get in shape? Again, start with a 15-minute walk. Want to improve leadership? Read one book on personal development this month. Want to start a business? Start researching. Research an industry that gets you excited, that gets your passion flowing, that lights that fire in you. And take one step forward. This is your call to action, guys. Victim mentality is a trap, but it's one that you can escape. The first step is deciding that you're no longer powerless. So think about this. What's one small but powerful action that you can take today? What story are you ready to rewrite? You don't have to change everything overnight, but you do need to take the first step. Growth doesn't come from waiting. It comes from taking ownership of your life and moving forward. Guys, I really do hope you've gone this far with me. We're probably, 25 minutes or so in. I really do hope that you take this serious. So many of us have so much damn potential, but yet we choose to stay right where we are. Take that first step, guys. Step up, step out, challenge yourself. Never stop believing in the power that you have to transform your life. As always, guys, thank you so much for joining me here in the Leader's Realm today. Keep leading, keep growing, keep pushing, step by step, guys, one foot in front of the other. Don't look back. Until next time, guys, it's Tony Cammarata, and remember, stay fast, stay fluid, and stay flexible. Be the absolute best that you can be, because your best is yet to come.